mundo sepa lo que estamos viviendo aquí en Honduras, que el mundo sepa.
All three elections since the coup d'etat in Honduras in 2009 have been marred by evidence of fraud, employed to keep the ultra-right National Party in power. During the most recent election of November 26th, the opposition alliance, formed to defeat the National Party, was ahead by 5%, with 57% of the votes counted, when the Electoral Tribunal computer system crashed. When counting resumed 24 hours later, the tendency reversed, and the National Party, led by President Juan Orlando Hernandez, ended up winning by 1%. The Economist magazine published an analysis of the data, finding that such a reversal was mathematically impossible. Since then, Hondurans have been protesting for 58 straight days, despite consistent attacks from police and military, including cases of live bullets that have left at least 20 protesters dead, including 60-year-old Anselmo Villarreal. Within hours, artist Daniel Valladares made this painting based on the video of Anselmo Villarreal bleeding out in the street. Both video and painting have gone viral on Honduran social networks. The Hernandez regime is being accused of using the current crisis to cover past crimes as well. Back in 2015, evidence came out that National Party members of Congress had stolen almost $300 million from the Social Security Fund, causing the public healthcare system to collapse, with people dying waiting for beds. Hondurans rose up over months of weekly torch marches, eventually forcing the installation of an international anti-corruption body, the MAXI. That body was about to release evidence on 60 members of Congress, when this Wednesday, the regime passed a law prohibiting the prosecution of both current and former members of Congress or public servants.
Esto es un delito, lo que voy a leer en este momento. No procederá ninguna acción judicial para reclamar ningún tipo de responsabilidad, sea esta administrativa, civil o penal. Es que ha implicado un acto de impunidad al buscar cortar juicios y afectar la independencia del Poder Judicial.
Over the same period, Honduras has seen the largest increase in military spending of any country in the Western Hemisphere, more than doubling the budget since the coup, despite not being involved in a single foreign conflict. And this week, for the first time since the 1980s, a civilian was brought to trial inside a military base. No press or human rights officials were allowed near the building, where activist Edwin Espinal was facing dubious charges.
En este momento.
Esta es una unidad militar y no puede entrar con cámara, está totalmente
Entonces alguien me tiene que explicar por qué hay una audiencia en un base militar donde la prensa no puede entrar con cámara.
Nosotros solo acatamos orden.
Entonces tienen que llamar a la persona que dio la orden.
El abogado.
Fácil, fácil. Ustedes tienen el teléfono. Yo no tengo ese número. Bueno, así va a ser mi reportaje entonces.
Solo la fuerza hoy sostiene a Juan Orlando Hernández y nosotros nos queda únicamente en la calle. La comunidad internacional nos dejó solos nuevamente como en el golpe de Estado. Los Estados Unidos felicitaron al que se robó las elecciones y muchos países del mundo felicitaron al que nos robó las elecciones. Estamos solos.
Bien.
Déjenlo. Cálmense. Aquí está la Constitución. Ahí va la Constitución de la República.
The government of the US, Canada, and Europe have tweeted their concerns about human rights in Honduras, but have officially announced they will continue to work with the regime, which includes sending tens of millions of dollars in military aid. While the governments of the West have taken no actions to improve the situation, there have been other forms of international solidarity, such as a delegation of African-American artists, intellectuals, and entrepreneurs that included Smithsonian Director of Cultural Studies James Early and actor Danny Glover.
Because what we see here, we see in our own country as well.
Porque lo que vemos aquí, lo vemos en nuestro propio país también.
And in its own insidious ways, the privatization of the public space, the handing over of the vast resources to multinational corporations, and who are the same victims: women, children, the poor, those who are disenfranchised and marginalized. They're the same as well.
Necesitamos una alianza más fuerte entre los afrodescendientes en este hemisferio en colaboración con los otros que están buscando otros modos de ser seres humanos. Porque los élites tienen una alianza. El Departamento de Estado de los Estados Unidos, una alianza con los ultraderechistas aquí en América Latina. Con los aquí ahora, los ilegítimos que se dicen que es presidente. Tenemos la capacidad, otra vez, a fundar una nueva América. Nosotros somos los que estábamos esperando. Gracias.
On one day of action last week, the Honduran movement blockaded more than 45 highways and boulevards nationwide.
In Honduras, you don't have a right to go to the hospital because there's not a medicine. And if you go, there's not a bed for you. But you see, they have money to afford this all the protection for the police.
As Juan Orlando Hernandez prepares to celebrate his contested inauguration on Saturday, the opposition is calling for a massive mobilization to surround the national stadium. Meanwhile, a letter surfaced Wednesday from the director of a hospital in the capital calling on staff to release all patients healthy enough to be cared for in their homes in order to make room for, quote, whatever might happen given the current situation in our country. Reporting from Tegucigalpa for The Real News, I'm Jesse Freeston.